Good morning, everybody. This is Van Hargis with Van Hargis Horsemanship, and appreciate you guys joining me today on the ranch road. Let's head over there at the ranch and get started. And I don't really know what the deal is today, but I just been incredibly grateful today, and I want to share that with you guys and let you know, just number one, how much I appreciate you folks being on that side of that camera, and every time we do a clinic, I appreciate those people who show up to those clinics. I appreciate the people who when we go to horse expos, who will sit there in the stands and watch us, for an hour and a half, ever how long that presentation is for. I don't think you guys realize just how grateful I am for the opportunity to get to do what I do for a living. And honestly, if it wasn't for you folks, if it wasn't for your horses, if it wasn't for how hard you guys work to improve your horsemanship and humanship, I'd be without a job. So I'm so incredibly grateful for the opportunities that you guys give us to do what we do. And I get asked this a lot. Well, how do you get to do what you do? And I'm gonna tell you, I have no idea. I refer to myself sometimes like the Forrest Gump of the horse world. It wasn't a plan for me. I didn't start off thinking that I was going to go off and be a horse trainer. Didn't think I was going to be a clinician. Honestly, I didn't know what a clinician was until I started doing it. And not that there weren't guys out there. There were already guys out there doing it. But I didn't know what they were doing. I had no idea. I grew up thinking that everybody already knew everything as far as the horse stuff went, and you just worked at it, and you just got better at it. I didn't know that you could actually go and learn from other people. I thought when you wanted to learn something, you just went and asked some questions, and folks around you would share their wisdom. And I was always very grateful and very fortunate to be around folks that would share their wisdom, and some of which are well-known trainers, and some of which were guys that I don't think they ever got out of their backyard hardly, but there were phenomenal men and women that shared their knowledge with me and kind of helped me along the way. And then I finally got to the point where I realized I didn't know anything, and I needed to work harder, needed to study harder, needed to ask more questions, and needed to get out and visit with more trainers. And it was then that I think I started stumbling across a few clinicians and a few people that I began to realize a little bit more about what they did. And one thing that I do want to share with you guys today is once I began to start kind of finding my niche as to what I wanted to do with the horse world and what I wanted to do to get better at whatever it is that I was doing at the time, I put in a lot of time, put in a lot of work, and worked extremely hard to get better at everything that I did. And when I began to start having some successes, you're on that little thin line. And on that little thin line, what I'm referring to is sometimes when you start having some successes, that ego side of you wants to push you around and say that you're kind of cocky and you're doing good and, just keep doing what you're doing type of thing. But then that other side, that humility side, which if I had to listen to one or the two, I would listen to that more humble guy, believe me. But that humility side will keep reminding you of the hard work you've put in. And I want to tell you guys this. When you do put in the hard work, and when you are surrounding yourself with people who are successful at whatever they're doing, doesn't necessarily have to be in the horse world, but if they're successful in what they're doing, look at the patterns that they have in their life. Look at why they're successful. And then this word I want to share with you. It's a 5-letter word that we call trust. Trust in that. Nobody fell to the top. Think about that. I'm going to say that one more time. Nobody fell to the top. If somebody is achieving great things, they're working pretty darn hard to do it. And if we have that good fortune of being around and watch and experience other people's successes, we then can study the things that they did to achieve it. And Zig Ziglar used to say all the time, if you want to be successful, you do what successful people do. Surround yourself with people like that, and think about that 5-letter word, trust. Trust in their process. Trust in the training that you've given yourself. Trust in the hard work you've given and that you've put in, and trust, and most importantly, just trust in God that He put you on the right path to be doing what you're doing. And of course, be grateful for that. We're going to talk a lot more about trust this week. For whatever reason, it's been on my heart a whole heck of a lot. I see sometimes the biggest hiccup that a lot of young trainers have, and believe me, we see a lot of them out here. You know, we have an intern and apprentice program. We've had it for years. There's only a very short period of time we didn't have an intern and apprentice program. It's when I very first moved down to South Texas, and quite frankly, when I first moved down here, I was having to lease a property, and I just didn't have a place to house students. Now we do, so our program's kicked back off again, and I'm so grateful for that, because we get to share the experiences that I've had, but most importantly, the experiences so many other trainers have shared with me. We share that with our students. And the one thing that I see our students struggling with the most is that 5-letter word of trust. Sometimes they don't trust themselves. Sometimes they don't trust their upbringing. Sometimes they don't trust their horses. So this week, the rest of this week, we're going to talk a lot more about trust. Think about that. Nobody ever fell to the top. Trust in yourself, trust in your horse, trust in the successes of others around you. If you want to be successful, do what successful people do. Trust. We're going to talk about that some more. Thank you guys so much for joining me on the ranch road each morning. We're here at the ranch already. You got to get through this gate to get up there to where the horses are all tied and waiting on me, I'm sure. Thank you guys again. This is Van Hargis with Van Hargis Horsemanship.